In the rolling hills of the picturesque valley of the River Dart in Devon live a group of Benedictine monks. Peacefully, they occupy themselves, dedicating their lives to the service of God. Away in the hills, away from the world. But these monks are very well known in the city of Glasgow. In fact, you may even say they have a very close relationship, as these monks live and work in Buckfast Abbey. Welcome to Glasgow, and the scene couldn't be any more different. The signs of poverty and urban decay are rife. Once home to the 6th worst health constituencies in the whole of Europe, Glasgow can be seen to lead the way in everything associated with a negative lifestyle. No surprises then, that alcohol abuse and violence are right up there. There is nothing new about the issue of binge drinking and antisocial behaviour. We are being constantly reminded of how this so-called trend has a grasp on our youth and is plaguing our societies with antisocial behaviour and violence. Near enough every day it is being covered in the media. Be it the papers, be it the TV, be it the radio, it is always at the forefront of our attention. The images of people stumbling down the streets, beating people up and generally causing trouble are all too common. But beneath the headlines, a finger has been pointed.
Buckfast tonic wine, originally conceived as a medicinal drink, but nowadays more a serum for boredom among the young and the disillusioned in inner city Scotland. Despite the fact it's not advertised, it's become part of popular culture. But its popularity has been attracting attention for all the wrong reasons. At least one supermarket has decided to stop selling it after local Member of Scottish Parliament Cathy Jameson claimed it was fueling antisocial behaviour.
We investigated what actually had happened in Aalocholic. We had a visit, we spoke to the retailers, we spoke to the youngsters, we looked at the local school to try and find out where the problem really starts from, where it ends, is there anything we could do to help. We looked at the school records. There was evidence that especially amongst the boys that there was a higher rate of truancy, and that's the first sign we usually find of if they're not attending school, they tend to get into trouble, and hey presto, the result of you get Cathy Jameson, who the politician takes the easy road out and blames Buckfast.
We've always said that no one brand is to blame at all. You know, we know that things like cheap cider or Buckfast might be popular with young guys in certain areas, but at the end of the day, if those brands were removed from the market, they're not going to stop drinking, they're just going to switch to something else. So it's the alcohol industry generally that needs to do a lot more kind of social responsibility work. So it's not just one brand that's to blame for all the problems.
Bans and restrictions, however, have already been imposed in certain areas. In Murray Square in East Kilbride, the 101 convenience store has been denied a licence to sell the drink. Very effective, if there wasn't a 101 off licence 50 yards away with one. With recent attention given to the stories of shopping centres banning kids with hoodies on, has this so-called nanny state lost the plot? Why only Buckfast? There are so many alternatives available that any restrictions on a single brand would be completely pointless. It's like imposing restrictions on a single brand of cigarettes. Everyone is aware that smoking is bad for you, but is banning one brand going to stop people smoking? Saturday night in a park somewhere in Rutherglen, I met up with three guys who at first sight would appear to fit the image of a typical Buckie drinker, making a habit of retiring to the bench with a bottle.
Like Sockies. Yeah, he's just like a shirt and then it's Buckfast, as you said, has a reputation that people's like parents especially will frown upon it and like think it's just
yeah,
an any drink.
We only drink here because we know that our mums and that don't appreciate us sitting in, and other people's mums, like my girlfriend's mum and that, don't appreciate us sitting in a house drinking this because it's associated with Neds.
If Neds drank rosé, we wouldn't get
they don't want to know that their daughters and their sons or whatever are hanging about with Neds. So we come down here and we just have a laugh, we sit, chat away about football, whatever.
It's just the same as any other alcohol.
And then you just sit and drink and you get drunk. But Neds drink anything and get pissed, they're going to be violent.
Yeah, that's
like we can sit here and drink this and we won't even argue with anyone, and we won't even argue with each other, we're mates. Neds are naturally aggressive, they grow up being Neds and they grow up being aggressive and they grow up fighting constantly. So whatever they drink, as Brian says, a bottle of rosé perhaps, they're going to get aggressive anyway.
Searching the internet, I came across a quote by the former Scottish Secretary of State claiming that Buckfast was nothing more than a recipe for misery and antisocial behaviour. I travelled up to Lanark, where alongside Coatbridge is known as the Buckie capital of the world, where I found a restaurant that literally proved that quote wrong, teaming the notorious drink of the Ned up with top quality game to create the legendary Buckfast pies.
We only opened the restaurant about 2 years ago, and ostensibly we were looking for something that said Lanarkshire. And no steelworks, not very much happening. What does say Lanarkshire? Probably Buckfast. The Secretary of State at that time, Helen Liddell, when we started this, someone had told her about the Buckfast pie. And next thing we appeared on the front page of the Glasgow Herald and were applauded by the Secretary of State as being the only people who seem to come up with a good use for a bottle of Buckfast.
Originally conceived as an alternative medication, Buckfast has changed a lot over the years. Now illegal to suggest it holds any medicinal values, the image that the company wants is undoubtedly a million miles away from how it is commonly seen.
You like that, you clown?
To be quite honest, we eventually changed the name to Abbey Pie because we got so many people saying, oh, Buckfast, oh, I don't think I could touch that. Abbey Pie was much more acceptable.
You cannot get away from the fact that if an individual commits a crime, is antisocial, or does something wrong, the blame lies with the individual, not with the car, not with the drink, not with the drugs. You've a choice.